Our indie of the week, the most important of all things, is Death Ray Designs.
Ooh.
Ooh, I hear you say. Ooh, John. Ooh, Shay. So, Death Ray Designs is a company that do a whole host of bits and pieces, little thingly bobs to add to your terrain or to make your terrain out of, because they sell terrain and STL files and stuff as well.
Dear.
They also do a range of miniatures and a mech game for Ash Barker called Steel Rift, and they're all 6 mil. Where would you want to start, John? Are you going to run off in 13 minutes? Sorry, I mean 11 minutes and 30 seconds. No. I'm going to keep the 6 mil mech miniatures and stuff for a little bit later. For approximately 10 minutes time. I think I'll start looking through that.
Fine.
So you can see there's quite a lot going on with Death Ray Designs. There's a whole host of things. They're one of these companies that do tokens and movement trays and storage and bits and bobs, and then from there they've progressed into making terrain and then bits for your terrain, and then they've got into 3D sculpting. I'm going to start with the decals, since there's front and center screaming at me, and not because I was looking through the decals recently to stick onto tiny buildings so I can fight bots in front of them. I'm just saying,
everything's about bots nowadays.
Everything is about bots all the time. You are 100% correct. So you can see they've got a split into markings, numbers, and logos and icons. Logos and icons are my most favoritist, although numbers are always good, whether you're wanting to stick numbers on a Blood Bowl or a Dread Ball player or on the side of a tank, whatever it happens to be.
Or a BattleTech.
Or BattleTech. Especially if you happen to be putting together some new 6 mil Steel Rift mechs. Did I mention their Steel Rift mechs come with a whole host of weapon options that you can magnetize in or just build them whatever way you want? No, not yet. I'll mention that later, don't worry.
Shay is remotely firing up his 3D printer.
It's just got one of those infrared car unlocks. Yeah. 3D printers just going
engage.
But you can see here some of these are a sheet of 6 mil street graffiti.
That's so cool.
But I mean, you say 6 mil street graffiti. Well, I say it, and also they do right there on the bottom. However, say you were playing something like Necromunda or a gang fighting game, and you had some of this as tagging on the back of people's jackets and coats, because it'll be about the right size.
That would be cool, yeah.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't it though? Wouldn't it? Up here for thinking, down there for dancing, telling you. But yeah, the actual new decal range that they've put together looks really, really smart. I need to have a look at those as well, because you'll enjoy those. See, things like you were saying about mech markings, John. I mean, things like this, they've got to be a pain in the backside to actually paint on.
Yeah.
The little front towards enemies and stuff. And they're generic enough to work on your BattleTech or any sort of mechs you want to stick them on, or obviously Steel Rift. Visit steelrift.com. You won't have to. You'll see them all here, John. Don't worry. But yeah, so a whole host of them in various colors. I love the dystopian propaganda posters, though, because it's a mix of the 1984-esque plus the new. Just imagine those on street level as you're running past punching face.
Yeah.
Never sleep. I remember one of our community members did a rake of these in this sort of style for Star Wars. Put them up in our project system so people could download them and print them out themselves. And they're really, really sweet. I like the pop of color. I also, obviously, very clearly influenced by a certain poster in 2008, I want to say. Mr. Barry Obama and his hope. So yeah.
It's all Obama's fault, man.
These things always are, aren't they? They're always somebody's fault. Anyway, yeah. So really nice set of iconography. You've got your shark mouth tallies and just generic markings. So, like I say, whole range of decals.
Are they just like standard water slide?
These are just water slide transfers. You don't have to think or anything. It's great, especially if you're putting them on a mech where it's nice flat sides.
We could give all of Shay's Irbies shark teeth. Good. A little angry eyes.
And angry eyes on all your Irbies.
Yeah. Oh, angry eyes would be better.
How much for the decal set there, Jerry?
Decal sets are $5.
I think Shay and I are going to be putting in an order later, I think. What do you think?
Probably will be.
We could graffiti up an Irby with the other sheet.
Yeah, because I am doing that kind of stuff. For the stadium, John.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
we
again,
still want to do that.
yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Again, you've got your things like your generic warnings and your generic numbers. So,
Oh, I need those in my Rubies.
so these are great as well for various things, either terrain or scenery. I'm looking at them with a view to possibly sticking some of this stuff onto some dead zone terrain from Mantic, just to let people know they shouldn't be opening those sides, touching those things, or switching the other bits off. So anyway, yeah. Decals, they're all great. We all like decals. Oh, miniatures. Oh, slip past terrain. I was so close to miniatures there. So close. So again, sci-fi, modern, fantasy, and then they do bundle deals as well. Modern for Last Days by Mr. Ashley Barker Esquire.
It's as if they quite like working together.
Yeah. But the first time I heard Death Ray Designs was on a GMG video years ago when they sent him a widget for measuring, because he was always trying to measure with a tape measure while holding the camera one-handed, and it was a faff, shall we say.
Yeah.
So they sent him a little measuring widget with Guerrilla Miniature Games inscribed on it. I was like, Death Ray Designs, cool. So just very basic modern buildings. Great for obviously The Last Days, Walking Dead, anything like that.
Anything post-apocalyptic.
Anything post-apocalyptic or moderns, especially in
Plenty of
America.
shutter shops.
I love the shutters. They're
Yeah.
really, really cool. Cool. And you've got your little internal.
Very atmospheric shots as well for these.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting way because as far as I'm aware, they're not painted or primed or any of that nonsense. They're just, your stock MDFs. So you're gonna have to paint them yourself. So it's a nice way of presenting them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, rather than just a few shots of just brown unpainted MDF. Yeah.
Gives you an idea of how they'd fit into the aesthetic of what you were trying to do and things like that, which is always nice to see.
Then we have a range of fantasy sort of stuff as well. So you've got Himmelheim is sort of your Mordheim runes. You've got your D3, so it's essentially a modular dungeon
stuff.
And then New Gallows is their fantasy constructed world. You can stick it on whatever way you want.
Everybody in Old Gallows.
So here's all the stuff you need, whether it's for dungeon crawlers or role playing games.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
It's really nice set.
Very modular as well.
Yeah, incredibly so. Especially when you see things like the wall panels and stuff. You can see how they use the triangle ends, so they tessellate, so you can get your 90-degree corners or your 45s,
that's really
straights,
nice.
that sort of stuff. It's a nice bit of kit if you wanted to put it together. Chuck or the Himmelheim's a whole thing. Hello, giant dragon.
Everybody needs a dragon.
Everybody needs a dragon. Well, they probably didn't want a dragon, but they've got one up on their grill, so you can see it. Lovely little fountain with a big obelisk /
good frost gravy stuff as well.
Oh, yeah,
being useful in things like Age of Sigmar and things.
Oh, these are actually pre-colored now. I don't know when they made the change. Interesting.
That's nice stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
Very multi-purpose, which is always handy.
The Sci-Fi is their biggest range, and they've been working on that for a while. They've been working with people like Fragging Unicorns for Gangs of the Undercity. They did the buildings for that,
right? Yeah,
as well as obviously a 41st Millennium adjacent styling. So you've got all sorts, whether it's again sort of dungeon crawlery type thing, racetracks. Look at the outpost. There's because I quite like I think that was the one from Fragging, New Cersei's. You've got your kind of neon-esque bits and pieces going on with it.
Send Schwarzenegger to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars. And you can see with the Sci-Fi, you've got the dirty, grotty Sci-Fi, but then you've also got these ones where they've tacked in acrylic pieces so that you can do the sort of the poppy neon bits.
Yeah, I always like that, seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I
mean, when you've got the option to do it and doing these sort of, matte black, luminous green and see-through, you've got a whole host of stuff you can play with. So
I mean, we were just looking at Infinity, and a lot of this stuff would be amazing for that, because you need to set up big essentially cluttered, not cluttered,
quite
but
dense tables. Yeah,
dense table. That's a better word for it. Yeah, dense tables for Infinity. So stuff like this is really good, especially buildings with height as well. So you can put a sniper on the top and have all the AROs all the time.
Height distance. I really like this this compound with the 2-layer effect. Little
That's
path
really cool.
running through the middle.
Yeah,
and the shrubbery.
I've got
I was just getting that reference before you said shrubbery. Shut up.
Thank you. You're welcome. I've really, and again, talking about really interesting shots. Theoretically, they're selling the train here, but at the same time, somebody set their train up and we're starting to take pictures. It's like, oh, this looks cool. I've just got silhouettes of troopers.
I like the idea of that as a Imperial base in Star Wars that's been set up on a world, and then all of the stormtroopers are just gone, and nobody knows why, and it's just been left. And so when all the Imperial troops come to find out what's happened, they've all just been taken by the local alien life form or something like that.
The flora and fauna has done them up like a kipper. That is definitely an Eversaur assassin. This is power swords, bolt pistol,
needle rifle, needle gun,
But yeah, so
very
a
cool
whole Galvy bucket, so much stuff in the way of sci-fi age. We'll open this one, shall we? I wonder why we'll open this one. Is it because it's 6mm-esque?
This is the starter before the main course.
The little aperitif. The amuse-bouche to cleanse the palate, John. Make you forget about the nuns. Don't remember the nuns. So you two can run your big chunky mechs down a city street. And, you know.
Do you need more terrain for our BattleTech?
BattleTech, yeah. It's I mean, compact and bijou, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It looks like a set of city tower blocks and stuff, you know. So if you've got nothing at all for mech combat, it's a great way of starting off your collection. You can just expand from there.
Very much so.
Oh, don't worry about any of those mechs. Oh, no, I mean, why would you even look at them? Don't worry. Anyway, so yeah, that is the, a little sort of taster of what they have in the train. Obviously, there's a ton more.
Oh, yeah.
And they have widgets and airbrush stencils and stuff. And they do various types of stenciling. So you've got your
eye twitching, by the way.
your death mask, blast shield. So, you know, the reusable ones, the ones that will give you very crisp
that's nice
things, and then your Mylar sort of quick and nasty, stick it down, spray and move away.
So you hopefully don't get too much bleed underneath them and that kind of thing.
Yeah, with these ones you'll not get any. With the death mask, with the Mylar, you'll obviously get some, but for those you're not looking for perfect results. You're looking for
it can add to the effect of it as well.
Yeah, quick and dirty, and you can see things like camo patterns. So if you want to do like a hex field camo, and these are the adhesive reusable ones.
Yeah.
So brilliant. The really good quality tight camoing, which is handy for various things. Because
I love the way they're displaying this stuff. Like,
I mean,
the presentation of all this stuff's really nice.
It's one of these websites that I didn't want to do when Lloyd was here because he would appreciate it too much. Don't worry, I'm got some postage stamp ones with half the images missing for whenever he comes back.
There's no trains on this either.
There's no trains. He would be very bored very quickly.
Yep.
But yeah, so they've got stencils. They also have a set of bits for scratch building. I think it's in the scratch build section.
Oh, okay. So they just give you bits and pieces, and you can
you can get which you could add to your tabletop, your bases, whatever. And they even do. I know you've been playing around with rollers recently, John. They do DAS templates for doing broken pavement and regular pavement stuff, but they're acrylic cut that you push the DAS into and scrape off the back and then pop them out when they're dry.
Oh, that is cool.
So it's a little bit different. But this is a little set of traffic cones and jersey barriers and stuff that will work for obviously scatter, or you can top onto your bases or whatever.
Very cool.
Which is always nice. I mean, when you're looking to make it look a bit more homely, a bit more lived in, not stark bare streets, it's a good way of doing it. So, shall we have a look at some miniatures? Let's have a look at the STL shop, because I may as well show you this first, because it's not, they don't do everything and then do everything in STLs. They do a very finite amount of STLs.
Okay.
So I'm not just doing this to annoy you now.
Yeah.
But these are.
Oh, there we go. Done.
There's a sample pack that you can probably start downloading now, Shay. If he suddenly ducks out of sight, we'll know why. But this is some little hexy-based terrain. So you two can add stuff with a big hexy look to it, like some sort of massive nuclear power plant and
Command and Conquer vibes.
It really has got, doesn't it?
I can hear Hell March in the back of my.
Yep.
It's really nice. Full set, or the industrial, or the power plant.
That's really neat.
Like I say, you can just get the storage, but I think the full set may as well go big or go home on that one.
Mm.
And realistically, it gives you the minimum print area required, which is interesting because I don't know if that's important.
Well, it would be dependent on if you're wanting to try and print it all at once. It's nice to know that is the
But there you go. Blah 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 blah. List of everything that's in it: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 pieces you can get your hands on for $40. Is that good? I don't know. I don't know what any of this means. Could be good.
The thing with STLs is no one really knows how to price it yet. Do you price it on the perceived value? Do you price it based on how long it took to design or that sort of thing? Like, because Shay and I see like STL prices all over the place, from next to nothing to why is it so expensive? But that'll level out. I think we'll understand. Hello, Max.
Hi. This isn't even the. I'm not going to say the good stuff because this is really nice, but this isn't what I've been teasing you with yet. So, right off the bat, there's your trainy bits again, bases, and base inserts and converters. That's important because if you've already got BattleTech stuff and want to play Steel Rift, that we'll be talking about, it works on a round base. I don't know why a square would have made sense because you've got 4 arcs.
Yeah.
Which is why there's little nub jewels on it because you can attach an arc template to them. But if you've already got a load of BattleTech and you're going, well, I don't want to buy mechs, well, you just stick a base converter on them with a magnet, and it means you can pop on, pop off. And as you can see, they've got a couple of sets of textured ones, which I think are really cute, especially when you're basing up a load of infantry and stuff like that. You two can stand on a small bunker or what appears to be some sort of Willys Jeep. Oh man, why did you bring a Willys Jeep to a conflict with hover tanks and mechs? You poor sons of guns.
That guy was just doing his job.
Here are small little infantry, and the small little infantry includes sort of, I suppose would be like dreadnought-sized walkers,
portable one,
sort of thing, as well as exoskeletons, and then just regular things, bikes and quads and arty. What do you want to look at, John? What do you want to look at?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll make the decision for you then.
Sure,
you want to look at the field gun pack.
Yeah, that'll do.
So, again, huge, ridiculous sci-fi gun of doom. Have a howitzer. Have one guy in an exoskeleton-powered suit heaving that shell that's bigger than Shay into the back of that gun. It's a way to do it. These would be very good for full spectrum dominance as well. I'm thinking about it. Pew pew. Pew pew. Pew. So like those, I really like the quads and the bikes as well because I'm like that.
Those are nice as well.
Those are nice, yeah.
And it's interesting. I think 6mm gaming and sci-fi gaming in particular, 6mm is having somewhat of a renaissance of late. Don't know what it is, but everybody wants to go big.
Possibly started with the resurgence in BattleTech, though.
Yeah,
because there was like that migration from 40k to BattleTech last year or a couple of years back, and now everyone's sort of going, "Hey, we can make more adjacent stuff to that now."
There's a load of stuff about there, so they're all.
I think people really like the idea of playing large battles on smaller spaces and quicker as well.
Yeah.
I think
there's a niche for there's a growing niche for mass battle, but not at 28mm.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure they would work as alternative Warhounds if you've still got Epic 40k or Armageddon kicking around.
For sure, yeah.
But if you don't, you can use them in other games.
That's totally not a rifleman.
Totes. What have I done there? Don't hover over drop downs, apparently. There's words to live by. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Pew. 4 pews.
4 pews.
4 pews. All the
four Gatling birds.
Really like this.
Insert warthog sound.
I like spider mechs. I don't know if they're any more realistic as far as having a giant walking mech would be to you just having bipedal. But I just like the look of them scuttling along. They should make a crab one rather than a spider one that is actually better at going left and right for that Space Invaders feel, which is very slow moving forward, but can zip left and right really fast for doing cool pop-up attacks behind buildings. Yeah. Oh, that'd be filth. Why is everybody not making crab mechs? Right, sorry. I digress. Anyway, so yeah, nice level of detail on these guys. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of mechs in a variety of flavors.
I know that they've got some of them actually in a little bit more motion as well. So you've got like the War Chief light mech and stuff on the
both the light mechs. You've got one shooting and one cornering at pace. We'll have a look at them before we dive on to the next bit.
Oh, that's cool.
It's definitely a commando, not a commando mech.
Going to run around the corner and just thunder punch something in the throat.
Yeah,
that's where you laugh at Atlas because you don't have a throat. You've just got a giant ball head straight into the middle of your body.
Especially since that fist is planted and then they shoot the gun.
Yeah. That's exactly what we would do. Yeah. VTOL-based craft, like these, they're very Battlestar Galactica.
They are, yeah, very much so.
A whole host of VTOL types. Heli-chopped.
What were the ships called? The Raptors were the transports ones.
Vipers.
Vipers, that was it, yeah.
It's probably because of the nose more than anything else.
The little
nose
stubby
is
bit
very good.
Those are very cool. I like those. Yeah.
And tanks, John. Tanks. Do you use many tanks and infantry, or are you just going whole hog into the mech size?
I am waiting for the Kickstarter to come because that's what it's doing is putting vehicles and aerospace into Alpha Strike because at the minute Alpha Strike is pure mech.
That's cool.
As you can see, little hover tanks.
Some of these are
buckets of tinks and tanks.
A lot of these would just work really well.
Look, Shay, 1 point of guaranteed damage when you lob at the head of a bot.
My favorite.
It was incredibly funny watching that Let's Play and seeing how often trucks and crates were thrown at people.
we did fill the board with a lot of stuff. That'll probably change up next time we play. I say it'll change up. I've bought a load of cars so that the crates will change into actual cars this time.
What are you doing this time, Shay? Well, I'm going to throw a crate at your head.
But this time around, I'm going to hit you in the head with a stop sign. Boosh.
And then don't stand near power lines too often. That's what we found out.
And then the last thing we'll take a look at here is the terrain. So you've got command post, debris box, and then the bastion.
Ooh.
Proper bastion with big gambings.
Yes.
Tons of what are they? Hesco boxes or something.
Filled with rocks. Yep. Try to keep yourself safe. Keep yourself safe from giant mechs. Are you mad, man? Let me know how that works out for you, tiny humans. Tiny, squishy humans. There's more Jeeps. Poor people. I suppose they're not Jeeps these days. They're Humvees, aren't they? I'm still going to refer to them as Jeeps.
May as well. I think my printer's going to have to get busy again.
I like that crate stacking like that, as well. That's cool.
Yeah.
Look, for growing your tomatoes. Polytunnels.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that kind of crate stacking style and those loaders and stuff. That's really neat.
Isn't that the bomb from Batman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Signal packing, best kind of packing. And
little mobile command center as well. That's nice.
A little debris box. What are these? Misprints, partial prints, factory seconds, so all sorts of random nonsense infantry, terrain, vehicles, all chucked in a box for spicing up your basing and board.
Out of stock.
Why not? Yeah, I imagine this is one you have to check it on a semi-daily basis, So
they're getting better at their production, so these boxes become rarer.
Rare. Yeah. Right. Okay. We've tormented you long enough. So, Steel Rift, if people aren't aware, is a game by Ash. You can pick up the rules. It's an interesting game, and I'm going to tell you a bit about the mechanics, John, and then you can tell me whether or not you agree, disagree, or massively outraged.
Okay.
He was watching a video one day with a friend, and they were showing anti-air turret.
Yep.
And they fired a load of missiles at it, and it just went. Boom,
yep.
All gone. 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at that, and when he came to design Steel Rift, he went, "There's no rules to hit.
Right.
Instead, you work out the damage based on your weapons.
Mm-hmm.
In the future, everybody hits all the time. And then it's up to the mech's defenses and counter defenses to try and take some of that damage dice away through countermeasures."
Yeah,
and
I kind of get that.
Apparently, that's one of the things that's been causing people the biggest issues when they read it, because they go, "But I want a roll." "Oh, but you don't need a roll. Why would you want to miss?" Your opponent might be really good and dodge a lot or block a lot, and you get less dice when there's like intervening terrain and stuff. But the whole point of being in these giant futuristic mechanical suits is to get in a position where you can bring all your guns to bear in the most effective way for yourself as possible.
I guess it makes it more tactical in a way.
Yeah. Now, if your opponent happens to be really good when they're firing back, when they're dodging, they can fire back, so they can counter fire for like every natural one they roll. They get a wee bit back at you, but again, if you happen to manage to maneuver in a position where you're in their back arc, then they're just going to get, riddled. And it has a BattleTech like feel where you've got a tonnage for a specific mech. They go from light up to ultra heavy, and then once you bought this chassis, you know what the rest of your tonnage can be allocated to weapons or armor or other bits. So you build your stuff the way you want to, which is why in these boxes they come with a whole host of additional weapons. So these all come when you buy it.
Yeah.
So some of them are like 20 additional weapons that you can magnetize if you want to start sticking other things on. Ash was saying it's not a WYSIWYG game. If you just want to build a cool mech and then go, this week he's got these weapons, next week he might have something different. I'm not magnetizing stuff. I don't have the time. You're not making me. So either is fine.
Not at that scale either, because you're going to lose all your spares.
Yeah, well, interesting thing. I don't know if it's for all of these boxes, but I know the 2-player starter set box actually comes with foam inserts. So when everything's sort of subdivided, and when you've built your stuff, it becomes a carry case for the 6 mechs. So you can keep it all together in that way. There's another interesting little thing about the weaponry is that you may discover that a certain weapon is great.
Oh, he's a chunky boy.
And you want to spam like Billy-O. Whenever you buy every weapon after the first of the same type, there's a tonnage increase. So yeah, 3 Gatling may be fantastic, but your first one costs you 10 or 5 tons. Your second one costs you 10 tons, and your next one costs you 15 tons.
I get you.
It stops the spam to a certain extent, but you can still do it.
You can super focus, but it's going to cost you.
It's going to, yeah.
Yep.
And it's the whole setup for Steel Rift it's the far, far future. Humanity has gone to the stars, developed Dyson spheres, the whole 9 yards. And then there's a terrible accident one day and the Dyson sphere goes away, and all those colonies and the rest stretching out into space are now having to fight amongst themselves for resources. So there is a bit of story behind it. There are certain things like the old Earth military forces, freelancers and miners, corporations in space doing various things. So you've got a bit of that if you want to lean into it, or you can just build your own faction over time, add to it, and there's like a little table at the back where it goes military, political, corporation, and they get little bonuses and stuff.
I like the tracked variants of
the tracked variants. They're very T1.
Yeah.
The Proto Terminator, that one especially. but you can just see them rumbling all over the place, and it's fine. But like a Dalek, you just go up a set of stairs, laugh, laughs in bipedal mech.
Until the track mech blows the stairs up and brings the building down on top of you.
No.
Don't need stairs if there's no building.
Yes,
that is true. But I think the design work they've done on these is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And I'm very curious about the game as well. To actually give it a go. The rulebook is, you can get the rulebook digitally off drive-through, or you can pick up the starter set.
I like the look of those guys.
Yeah, the corporation-y type. These
Slightly
are probably
more sci-fi looking one.
Yeah, well, these are ones with a ton of money. This is Amazon Cola or whatever they've become in the future when they've melded into one.
Coke Prime.
Right. That's a frightening thought.
Those are very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah, a whole host of stuff you can be chucking on the tabletop, and
you can buy all of them separately as well.
You can buy them all separately,
yeah.
And like I say, there is a 2-player starter box as well, which is what we were looking at earlier. So 6 mechs, so 3 aside, or you can just run them all as one set if you want to run them as one set. There's nobody stopping you. Literally nobody will come around your house and stop you playing the game that way.
Marker has decreed.
Yeah, well, that and I've got tripwires and claymores at the front door to stop people. Because I live in constant fear of somebody trying to come around and tell me I'm playing it wrong. But yeah, interesting little mechy techie game.
Very much so. Yeah,
you have me tempted.
Yeah, well, that is what I'm supposed to do in life, John.
Yes, it is apparently, and you succeed.
Yeah, well, I think we've already gone past the 30 minutes, so that box is probably live. We'll take a quick switch so John and Shay can buy everything in sight. I keep looking down, and Justin's name is right there on the screen. Shay, it's your fault. I will be right back with the news.